I did it my way. Black ball from the game, come and catch the wave. Waiting on my downfall, gotta stay ahead. Don't just cut me off, patience hanging by a thread.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Johnny Dunn, and we back with another one. The Johnny Dunn Show, VeVe Pod number 16. Marvel Mighties, we're here. Let's go. Captain America, huge drop. New surprise happening. We got blind boxes. That's something new. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited to talk about that. But before we talk about Marvel, Mighties, and the whole Captain America blind box experience coming this Saturday, I want to talk about how my Spider-Man drop went again. A lot of people have been asking me, how did I get the secret rare? And I want to say, it was about 4 to 5 weeks in a row before Comic-Con. I didn't get a drop. I was struggling big time. There were so many drops I missed out on. I was fortunate to get a lot of drops, Nightwing early and a couple big ones like the Dragon Girl, but there was a lot where I wasn't able to get it. Bad connection, internet, Wi-Fi, not the best phone, but I upgraded this weekend, and it was the first drop where I got a full 1 gig, with my Wi-Fi internet. That helped big time. And also I have a new phone. I have the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And one thing I want to suggest, if you're not able to, afford a new phone because they're expensive, go talk to your internet provider, call them up, and see if you can upgrade your internet connection to a full 1 gig up and down. I didn't even know that was a possibility, but we have such a better connection now, and that really helped out this weekend securing that secret rare. But ever since the new drop system that they put in since Comic-Con, I've been loving it. I've gotten every drop since Comic-Con besides the lucky secret rare. So I've been on fire lately with drops. Hopefully we keep it rolling. Let me know, comment below if you've been having success. I know a lot of people haven't been, so they want to know how I got the secret rare. So one thing that I've been doing a lot is I delete all my files on my phone. That helps out a lot. It clears up space because you can always re-download them when you're going to go look at your showroom and everything. So I delete my files beforehand. I keep my phone plugged into my charger. That's a huge thing that I don't think people do. But when I'm doing the drop, I'm right next to my charger. It's plugged in, and I have full battery. So that's also another thing. And another thing is you want to get into the app and on that screen probably about 45 minutes before. Don't be on your app doing other things, texting. Just be on that app screen. Make it so your phone doesn't turn off the background. And the last thing I want to say is when that buy now is up and that countdown happens, you know how it goes like 3, 2, 1, 0. Don't click the 0 as soon as it hits 0. One thing I've been doing is I've been just going in order, kind of just pacing it out in my head. So it's 3, 2, 1, 0, and then I click. And that little pause right there, I think, is what has been making a world of a difference, because people click too early almost. They're doing it as soon as 0 hits, but it's a little bit too early. So try that pause and see if that helps, and hopefully it does help you guys. Can't believe I got the secret rare, but after that I went for the ultra rare, sold out. Tried to go for the rare, that was sold out. So I was like, you know what, got the uncommon, got the common, and went back in the marketplace, got a rare a little bit later. I didn't wait too long. I wanted to make sure I got a rare. I think it was $130 I paid, and then it went up to $140 in price, and now it's back down to $120ish, I want to say. But I think that's definitely something that you want to get. It's something I wanted to get. I want to complete the whole set. I don't have the ultra rare just yet, but I think it's the first ever Marvel set. I think it's going to be legendary. I know it's the first ever Marvel set, but I think it's going to be legendary is what I meant to say. And I think it's just one of those that are going to be iconic in time. I don't know if it's going to take, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 6 more months, but I think it's going to appreciate really well. So that's my kind of tips, how I got the secret rare and how I've been able to get all these drops. I want to make sure also I got an Ethernet cable. So now I'm plugging my Ethernet cable straight into my internet Wi-Fi modem into my laptop. And I did that to really help out with these streams. So I'm able to live stream with everybody and not have a laggy connection. And also I got an adapter for it, so I can plug in the adapter to my computer now and into my phone. So that way I have the Ethernet connection to my laptop and my phone, so I don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi. And it's connected right into the internet. So that's something that's also helped out big time. I think VeVe Vault, shout out to him. He was one of the first people that were on that adapter Ethernet cable. So, it's definitely helped out with my streams, and I think it helped out last weekend securing that secret rare Spider-Man. So I loved it, man. I think I'm in a great setup right now. Love the setup. So now that I talked about the secret rare Spider-Man, let's get into the Marvel Mighties Series 1. Captain America, let's go. Marvel Mighties Season 1 Captain America this Saturday. Blind boxes are here. Get ready to add to the excitement of drop day with our blind box offerings. Marvel Mighties are only available for purchase as a blind box, meaning you will not know which amazing collectible you have managed to acquire until it is delivered. Once delivered, blind boxes will be opened automatically. From that point on, you can continue to expand your collection with additional blind boxes or interact with users in the market to complete your sets. So that's going to be interesting. We don't know if trades are going to be coming soon, if that's what they mean, or if they just mean you can then buy your collectibles if the ones you haven't gotten the blind boxes, or you can keep on adding the blind boxes. It's really up to you at that point. So the first one we got is the Steve Rogers. Since his introduction in 1941, Steve has stood tall as the Centennial of Liberty, introducing the Marvel Mighties. This line of collectibles adds a new spin to some of Marvel's most iconic superheroes. We got $13 retail price, 28,888 editions. So a pretty cheap retail entry point for these new users, and I like that a lot. We got almost 30,000 editions, so this is going to be the one that most people open up in their blind box most likely, the Steve Rogers one, which it sounds like a lot, but it's going to be one of those fun sets. It's not going to be the, most expensive one, but they're going to have these, something that's for everybody, I think. Moving on, we got the Sam Wilson, $13 retail price. Again, 28,888. So we got the Sam Wilson and the Steve Rogers, both commons. These are going to be the ones that everybody gets most likely. These are going to be the most popular and probably ends up being the cheapest. But they're nice collectibles. They're probably the most well known too, I would say. So both commons there. And then the uncommon, we got John F. Walker. Another $13 retail. We got 18,888 editions. So we're moving to a little bit more limited items, which I like. We got the uncommon. So again, a $13 retail. Moving on to the rare, we got Bucky Barnes, $13 retail. This time 11,888 editions. So this is more like the commons that we've been seeing with like Catwoman, etc., around the 10,000 edition range. And then moving on to the ultra rare. This is the one that I like a lot. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get one of these. If I'm able to get one or two in the blind box, I'll be happy with that. This is a $13 retail price point with 4,888 editions. Now I like the fact that they're all $13 because this gives the users a nice, point of entry that they can get into the app, they can get their set, they can get these collectibles for a pretty cheap point. They can get the blind boxes, that's half the fun. You don't know which one you're going to get until it gets delivered. They talked about in the future how you're going to be able to get the blind box and maybe not open it until you're ready to open it, and then you can put it in AR, open the box, and watch a surprise happen. You don't know which one you're going to get. That's going to be pretty fun. That's some stuff that Trevor talked about today in the AMA with Cavell. Shout out to Cavell Anderson on YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe to Cavell on YouTube and check out their interview with Trevor today. It was great. It was pretty funny, and a lot of good information that was said in there. So some good things to look forward to with VeVe.
Trying to understand how they can get an edge because it's an extremely competitive space.
Yeah. Okay. And well, we have another question here from Johnny Dunn, the legend. He says, will we see movies one day where I could put it in my showroom on, say, a TV, and people can come in my showroom, pay a little fee to visit and watch the movie together like a movie theater almost?
I would love to do that. I don't want to put on, I don't want to put on a when this is happening kind of thing. I think it sounds like a really cool idea. I think at some level, it's to abstract it further from movies and movie theater to having video content in in your showroom in the VeVe-verse like that is a really cool idea that we can do. I think the reality is going to a full. I think we could even do one better than that, which is since we're in a 3D virtual space, if your movie is animated and all those assets exist, they're in a computer somewhere. Maybe it's beyond just a flat screen experience to we actually have that scene with the full depth. And if there's a moment from that scene that you love, we can actually insert you into that scene if we had all that data. That would be a really cool world. Again, no promises happen. To me, that would be really cool. And because that content exists somewhere, we had the model exists, the animation tweens all exist somewhere. In theory, that could exist.
Okay, yeah, that would be sick if we saw that. We were actually talking about something similar, like the other day, like a couple of a different form of content, like the role playing genre, where because you all have these unique licenses and things like that, we have people in the community right now creating this content where they role play as the collectible. So you have Batman, he's doing the Batman voice, riding a DeLorean. Like there's a whole storyline to it. They're creating these whole storylines and making short films, like using the static figures and just making them like jump up and down and things like that. But I think that it would be sick to like literally be able to do things like have some animations, have them walk around and be able to like create short films, like as from content creators perspective, where we have all the assets we would need to like make these short films and stuff like that. And that could be stuff that's sold throughout the VeVeverse or something. So what would your thoughts be on something like that, like the role playing side of things?
I think again, and we're assuming away all the licensors agree to have that. That is actually what I described before is very complicated to do. That's actually simpler, because if the character is like, if the model exists and it's rigged in a certain way where we can add like from an animation library, being able to set that up would be much simpler. Being able to speak like and have it sound like the character, I'm sure there's some tech to do that. I'm not like immediately familiar with it, but that could be pretty cool too. And again, this is assuming away all the licensing and like people are okay with that. To me, all that stuff sounds more possible and pretty exciting to me. I'd love to see like that in terms of like being able to, for me, it comes from a mindset like being able to like, I'd love to be able to assume like the avatar of one of my NFTs to visit someone else's showroom or what have you. That would be cool to me. I think the leap to like creating, for lack of a better word, like machinima content within the world, I think that's a much heavier lift of a feature. It sounds pretty cool. I think it's a heavier lift and it doesn't appeal as wide as a feature, but I think it's cool, and it's not like it's impossible. I think it'd be something that'd be really interesting.
Here he says, elaborate on why you think IP and brand is so important in the NFT industry going forward for people who don't understand what the brand power has over time.
Oh yeah, if your brands have, as opposed to, I want to compare this to someone creating a new IP in the space. Brands have an existing perceived value, and they have an existing value that people accept, and it's like it expired. There's a certain quality bar. There's a certain brands just don't release random stuff. They make conscious choices about what they're choosing to release, and every single person, no matter like, despite what a lot of people may think or talk about, any brand that has any semblance of quality is not trying to cash grab with their stuff. They're really thinking deeply about what they're putting out, because what matters is not the individual success of one thing they release, it's the overall value of the brand, of the IP. So the reason brand, I think, is so valuable is because it's part of it's built into this ecosystem that's about supporting that value. They understand, like anybody who's working with us on this stuff, they understand the value of rarity. They understand the value of quality. They understand the value of their brand and like how well it is accepted by the larger world. I think the importance to NFTs is, it's hard to answer this without like shitting on a couple other NFT projects. So I think I'm just gonna have to do it. If you compare it to something like another project that's around a not established brand, like it's literally Bored Apes Club. Like, where does it exist outside of the NFT space? It's like, if it doesn't exist in other, or like who are the crypto punks or whatever, like all that stuff. It's like you created something that nobody else in the world outside of NFTs or crypto knows about, and you're trying to sell it as something that's value. How do you compare? How do you like know who, like, you're asking the question to the larger world of like, who cares? Like, I don't think if you showed the CryptoPunk image to somebody else outside of the NFT space, they aren't immediately going to understand, oh, that's a really valuable IP. They're going to be like, that's an interesting image that you shared. Like, weird image. They're not going to make those connections to that deep-seated like brand value and lore and story that's built around that.
Yeah.
real, like, I don't want to say real, that's the wrong way to say it. Whereas like Marvel, there's 100+ years of history around these characters in every form of media imaginable. People have grown up with these characters. It resonates with them. Those stories mean something to people. It matters to them. Why else would people be so obsessed with these stuff as to spend so much time and money to engage with it? It clearly means something to so many people. When you don't have that, you're losing a big part of like, you're losing a big part of that. And like honestly, a lot of the rest of the NFT space, since it doesn't have that, it warrants a question: what are people buying? Like when I look at the CryptoPunk, it's like they're not buying the brand because it doesn't really exist. It hasn't been something that matters to them for so long. They're not buying the quality bar because let me tell you, that shit is really cheap to make. So they're buying the speculation. And like in that world, there's a lot of like greater fool kind of thing. Like, I'm buying it at this price, hopefully someone else will buy it off me for a higher price. How can we break through that into actually offering something that people deeply value and truly want to collect? And it's with working with these brands and putting out really good stuff as opposed to a single PNG.
Yeah. So you guys just heard it right there from the guy himself, Trevor. Shout out to Cavell, shout out to Trevor putting on that fantastic interview. Make sure you go subscribe to Cavell, man. Puts in so much work for the community. And a lot of times they'll do this. They'll hop on with a community member, do a little interview. And it's so great to just see in depth inside their mindset, what they're thinking. And it blew me away. Trevor said stuff that was way more in depth than what I was even thinking. I thought we were all going to be able to come to my showroom maybe and watch a movie clip on the screen or something like that. But he talked about putting your favorite movie clip in there and having it possibly be in augmented reality in 3D, so you get to experience that movie clip, which was just, it blew my mind. It was even way more immersive than I ever thought. A whole nother layer to it, like a whole nother level to it. Just unbelievable. And then Trevor talked on how important IP and brand is. Like, I kept saying how IP and brand is king. You know, shout out to Gary V, man. He kept saying this in March, April, and even back in February. That's why when I found VeVe, it just all made so much sense. He talked about how IP and brand is king. These brands have been established. They've been here for 100 years, like decades, and they've had millions and millions of fans. You don't have to create a new fan out of something out of thin air you just made up. Like, these are licensed digital assets. That's the difference with these compared to any other, platform. Shout out to everybody else doing their own thing with their own NFTs, because I want as many people from the mainstream to come into NFTs. It's going to help everybody, the whole ecosystem. It's going to be mainstream soon, and I want the whole masses to come into the NFT space, because I know they're going to funnel into the projects that they really love and the brands that they really love. And that's why I think VeVe is king, and it was just great to hear Trevor talk about that. So shout out to Cavell, man, for asking those questions, because I thought there were two huge questions, that I wanted to get answered for the public, not only just me. I know how important IP and brand is. That's why I keep saying how these are premium licensed digital assets. But I think people just hear that and it just goes out the other ear. Like, a lot of people aren't understanding the importance of IP and brand. And I think that's really going to come, to fruition in, next couple 2 to 3 years, where that's really going to play out. We're going to see saturation happen. Every project's popping up left and right, and good for them. I wish them the best. Everybody doing their own thing, but I'm trying to, educate my following that these are premium licensed digital assets. This is a long-term investment when you're investing in VeVe. This isn't just some pop-up, capitalize off the NFT buzz, cash grab. This is way different than anything anybody has ever experienced or seen before in the history of the world. There is never going to be another FA Batman, another FA Superman, Spider-Man. There's only going to be one, and that's right now in the VeVe app. That's why this is legendary, historic moments right now. And I thought it was just important that they talked on that and they touched on that on topic, because IP and brand means so much. It's never been in the NFT space before. We just saw Coca-Cola come out with their own NFT. So I think this is the beginning of, I always say PLDA, premium licensed digital assets. I think that's going to be the next trendy word, trendy hashtag, PLDA, premium licensed digital assets. So that's all we got in store today. We got Marvel Mighties, Series 1, Captain America this weekend. Get your blind boxes Saturday. Shout out to everybody supporting. Appreciate you guys. We're tuning out. Johnny Dunn, The Johnny Dunn Show, VeVe Pod number 16. We out.
Grinding every day and I did it my way. Black ball from the game, call me catch the way.